Steve here, heavenlysign2017.com. If you take a walk down the dark, gloomy halls of YouTube's corridor of doomsday videos, what you see is that the public seems to have this insatiable appetite for, quote, breaking news, unquote, concerning something that preys on people's fears to get views. You know, we have to look a whole lot more carefully to find a video from a Christian perspective that's meant to instill encouragement in us as we move closer to our Lord's return. You know, with everything that we see going on around us these days, people will find such fear porn almost irresistible, kind of like the moth drawn to a flame. But what are we really learning from this? I mean, if it's just little more than sirens of alarm going off telling us that the sky is falling without any mention of a new age dawning. I mean, isn't that what it's really all supposed to be about? Awakening one another to those things to come is fine and dandy, but it seems like this side of YouTube has just become a festering mess of gloom and doom with little mention of how we should be excited with the anticipation of those things to come, which have nothing to do with destruction, which parallel our Lord's words to not let our hearts be troubled, or to fear not, and to encourage one another as we see the day drawing near. Things which do more than just strengthen and settle us, but give us such hope in our deliverer that we become powerfully energized to help others do the same. My point here is that if we're not careful, we can become so enticed and drawn in by the enormous cyclone of information warning us of things that we must avoid, or worse, dangers that we can't avoid, that our minds and our spirits become trapped inside a bubble of fear and dread when God's desire for us is nothing of the sort. God's will for us in our lives has always been the same, and that's to give thanks in all things. To remain still, trusting in Him despite whatever storms are raging around us, or whatever uncertainties loom over the near horizon. The peace that He gave us was not the peace that the world knows, and when it comes to all of these fears and uncertainties, we're certainly not to have our hope grounded in the solution that the world holds. Hard-breaking, urgent news alerts with dire warnings and whistles and sirens and bells going off, and after, all this after rambling on for an hour or more, flooding the timeline of their editor with a barrage of video clips of death and destruction that we tend to be entertained by, closing in the end with nothing more than a heads up, which is where they seem best to leave it. God forbid that we do our brothers and sisters for whom Christ died such an impersonal service. If I can't offer anything more than this, I should quit. Every opportunity that God gives us in the precious few days He has seen fit to grant us here on earth to share the hope that is in us should be an opportunity in which we have shared with others the encouragement that God has Himself given us. This is Steve. Thank you for listening.